Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Celtic Way morning briefing for Friday, the 3rd of November. My name is Ryan McGinlay, at the Ryan McGinlay on the X handle, and today I'm delighted to be joined by Aidan C. Macdonald on the Twitter handle. Aidan Macdonald, how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, Ryan. How are you?
Yeah, things are good. Yeah, things are ticking along just nicely. Glad that Celtic got the win on Wednesday, but it's like another game closer tomorrow, another game closer to where Celtic want to be and where they need to be. So looking forward to getting into talking about that a wee bit and maybe the team news surrounding that. Before we start, guys, if I could just direct everybody to the top of the screen, we thank our sponsors for this video, MPH Group and Navien. So just let me read this out. The morning briefing is brought to you by those two who are Scotland's award-winning family-run all-trade specialists covering all of mainland Scotland. Every service you opt for automatically enters you into MPH's incredible holiday giveaway. You could win a 7-night stay at the luxurious 5-star Moon Palace Resort in Cancun, Mexico. And winter's rolling in, and if you're looking of giving your home heating system a boost, MPH has an enticing Navien boiler winter promotion just for you. When you opt for an Navien boiler installation through MPH Boilers, not only are you choosing top-tier efficiency, but you're also getting a free Navien internet controller. This little gadget can crank up your boiler's efficiency with an impressive 98%, and the cherry on top, they're covering the first year's service, no added costs. And if you're wondering why Navien, they're gunning for Product of the Year of the H&V Awards, the Oscars of the heating world. And to top it off, the Navien On range comes for up to 12-year parts and labour warranty. Big shout out to MPH. They're nominated for Small Company of the Year at the same awards. So if you're looking for any plumbing, heating, kitchens or bathroom work, then please check out MPH Group and Navien. It's time we get in to talk about the football, Aidan. Celtic play Ross County tomorrow and what has been a very, very quick turnaround in games. You know, it feels like yesterday, basically, since Celtic played St Mirren. It feels like that because Tony and I were doing videos yesterday morning regarding that game. But back to business again in the league. Celtic v Ross County at Dingwall. Always a difficult place to go, but you'd be expecting Celtic to put in a really good performance, pick up the 3 points away from home.
Yeah, I think after getting back to winning ways against St Mirren on Wednesday, Ryan, as you were touching on there, it's important to continue that momentum. And yeah, Ross County can be a difficult place to go, but in recent years, Celtic have had a good record up there, so fingers crossed they can continue that on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to bring up a team that Tony and I predicted 2 games ago because I thought, we didn't have enough time to create a graphic for this morning, but it might be similar to the sort of team that you would see on Saturday afternoon. Just looking at that team, Aidan, would there be any changes that you make from that? Is there a potential for maybe Odin Thiago Holm to replace Bernardo in that team? I know Bernardo didn't play any of the last 90 minutes against St Mirren, but after that great cameo performance in which he got the assist for O's winner, do you think he could be in with a shout for that team?
Yeah, I think that would probably be one of the main changes, Ryan, along with maybe Yang to come in for Palma as well. I thought Yang did really well when he came on the other night. I know he didn't get an assist or a goal, but he definitely brought the team up to a level, even just taking on his fullback, and I think he made the keeper make a couple of saves. So those are probably the two. Outside of that, I'd imagine the team will basically pick itself. Hopefully with Carter Vickers coming back in at the starting lineup after getting a rest the other night. So yeah, a similar team to that, but hopefully with a couple of changes.
Yeah, absolutely. You see that Kyogo's leading the line. I know I chose the headline for this video, the title of this video, will Oh Hyeon-gyu lead the line at Dingwall tomorrow? Just going back to that goal that he scored on Wednesday, his first goal of the season, it seems like forever since he scored. I think his previous goal before that was the 2 goals he scored against Aberdeen on Trophy Day last season, which was Ange Postecoglou's last home game. Do you think that's a really bit, he's been on a bit of a barren run this season. He's not had a lot of game time. He's had no starts to sort of get into that groove of scoring. It's been all Kyogo. Kyogo's been leading the line. Do you think that tomorrow could be an opportunity for the likes of O and Yang as well, the South Korean contingent, to really stake a claim in this Celtic team? There's quite a few Japanese players in and around the team. You get Maeda and Kyogo, Hatate as well when he's fit. But is this now the chance after that St Mirren game for these 2 South Korean players and Yang and O to really stake a claim and really make themselves heard in that Celtic 11?
I personally think it's a good chance for Yang to stake a claim in the side, but I would be very surprised if Kyogo didn't start the game, Ryan, just because he is kind of the main guy in the team at the moment. I would always probably have like him and Hatate in as probably the 2 best players at the club, and given Hatate's out, obviously. Kyogo's kind of maybe your main driving force at the moment. I just don't think you can take him out, and that maybe is a wee bit harsh and all after the goal he got the other night. And we've also been talking about his barren spell, etc. But as you're quite right to point out, he's barely kicked the ball all season. So I think there is kind of a bit of balance to be had when you're looking at his numbers so far in this campaign. And, how's he meant to kick on if he's never starting games? But I think at the moment you just can't really take Kyogo out. It's maybe the sort of opportunity where if it gets to 60 minutes tomorrow, and if the game's wrapped up, or if Celtic are struggling, then you bring O on for 35 minutes rather than only getting wee cameos, and that's maybe justified off the back of his goal against St Mirren. But I just think at the moment you just can't really not start Kyogo, just of how good he's been this season.
Yeah, Kyogo has been absolutely sensational this season. Should have scored on Wednesday night, trying to chip the goalkeeper, trying to unleash his inner Larsson. I know people have been calling him the best since Larsson, including myself, but when I was up in the crowd and then off stand upper, I thought it was a goal. I thought he'd put it in the back of the net. I thought he chipped it over. Took a couple of seconds for it to realise it didn't actually go in the back of the net. As it turns out, it was probably a poor finish from Kyogo. In fact, it was a poor finish by Kyogo, because when you look at the post shot XG, it drops completely. So it was maybe the wrong shot or the wrong type of shot that he chose. When he should have maybe been rounding the goalkeeper or side footing it into the net. He's trying to chip it, trying to give it a bit of pizzazz, and it didn't work out for him. But I don't think he would have been taking that shot at one each. I think he would have been rattling the back of the net. I think it was just because he was feeling confident in that moment. He's had chances. He probably should be on a lot more goals than he is on. I know he's Celtic's second top goal scorer after Matt O'Riley, but he probably should be on more goals this season if his finishing was just a wee bit better. But I'm not gonna complain about Kyogo's finishing, because he's got Celtic out of so many holes. Matt O'Riley had a bit of a quieter game the other night, but when you look back at the unique angles and the goal highlights, it's Matt O'Reilly's sort of slide tackle that gives the ball to David Turnbull to get the equaliser. So that'll be another assist onto his total. His numbers are absolutely incredible this season, but it has been a wee bit up and down over the past couple of games with Matt O'Reilly's form, I would say. I think you really did see his tiredness in the Hibs game. You look at the amount of pressures that he had in that game compared to the game before against Atletico Madrid. You put a lot into that for the 90 minutes. You're obviously going to see a bit of fatigue in the next game. Maybe that turnaround, the 3 days, was just too soon for a player like Matt O'Reilly to get to his top level again. But, with this 4-day break that he's had, or 3 or 4 day break that he'll have from St Mirren to Ross County, do you think he'll be back to his best on Saturday afternoon?
Hopefully. I can only kind of assume that the reason he maybe struggled a wee bit against Hibs was he put so much into that game against Atletico Madrid. I think he got kind of UEFA's official player of the match award for that game, and deservedly so. I thought he was very good that night. So I think we can maybe forgive that sort of tiredness against Hibernian after a lot of the defensive work he had to do in the Champions League. I thought he played quite well the other night as well, picking up obviously that assist for Turnbull's goal, but I thought he was more involved actually when the manager took him off. I was quite disappointed, to be honest. I thought that was the sort of guy you would want to keep on the pitch, but obviously, bringing on old Thiago Holm, who then gets the assist, was obviously the correct decision. But yeah, I think it'd be good to see O'Reilly have a good commanding performance at the weekend, because I think with Hatate being out the side right now, he is one of the main driving forces, particularly in that midfield. They're probably looking for a wee bit more out of O'Reilly than you would have been a couple of games ago. As much as he's obviously been putting up great numbers already this season, and at times he's been performing better on Hatate when they've both been available on the side. I think, it'd be good to see O'Reilly maybe get on the score sheet again against Ross County.
Yeah, as long as he's keeping up those numbers, then I think he's well on his way to individual honours as well as domestic, as well as team honours at the end of the season. With Hatate's injury, you're right, he does have to step up and maybe have more of a creative output. But I do like his defensive work as well. I like that he can do both. He's a very good attacker. He's put goals, he's added goals to his repertoire, but the defensive work is always there as well. He's pressing, he's counter-pressing, he's tackling. It's just those long legs. I think it's the long legs that enable him to just tackle and intercept the ball. Not unlike maybe he's a bit better defensively than Pogba, but that tall midfielder that's lanky with the ball at his feet that can get around the pitch. It's maybe not the best example considering he's out just now, but Matt O'Reilly, I like him in that role. I would actually be quite tempted to play him as a number 8 rather than a number 10, playing back a role. and maybe put Odin Thiago Holm in that number 10 role. I just want to touch on Odin Thiago Holm for a couple of minutes, because I think that 20-25 minute cameo he had on Wednesday night was tremendous. Not just the assist for O's goal, but the way in which he dribbles with the ball. It's that guile that he's got. It's the guile that Rio Hatate has as well. You know, the agility in the midfield. I think Celtic need a player like that. They need a sort of joker card, I think, in the midfield that's going to make those risky passes, that's going to try and break the lines with his running. Odin Thiago Holm, 20 years old, but I definitely think he can be that player going forward. If he is fully fit, then I don't know about you, but I would be starting him against Ross County, because he brings that X factor that Celtic need in the midfield.
Yeah, I think he is a decent player, Ryan. We obviously seen at the start of the season what he could do, and then he dipped out. Turned out Brendan Rodgers revealed, I think it was last week, that he had been out injured. That hadn't really been confirmed until he mentioned that himself, which obviously you don't want a player to have a knock, but I was actually glad to hear there was a reason for him not being involved, rather than him just kind of dropping out of contention or potentially not training well. So the fact that he was injured, that did show that he was still going to be a part of the plans, and then he's been on the bench the last couple of games, comes on and gets a crucial assist the other night that you might look back on come the end of the season as a really important move. So yeah, I think it would be good to see him get a run in the team. I don't really know where his overall fitness levels are. If he could start and give you 65, 70 minutes, I don't know. But yeah, he definitely felt like a fresh spark, and it's another option in midfield, particularly with Hatate being out. As you say, does that then allow O'Reilly to drop back, play Odin Thiago Holm further forward, or vice versa? Another option rather than having to kind of stick to the same players all the time. So yeah, it was great to see him involved and make an impact like that, because in his early cameos at the start of the season, when maybe the team was struggling a wee bit more, he did look quite promising in the games he came on.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's been up and down. As someone in the comments section mentioned that as well, I think it was Pete McGee, that a lot of players have been up and down this season, apart from Matt O'Riley. I would even say Matt O'Reilly's been up and down over the past couple of games, but that's just due to his high standards. Maybe it wasn't a 9 out of 10, maybe it was an 8 or 7 out of 10. That's just the standards that O'Reilly seems to be operating on this season. But yeah, he had that good. I think he came on as a sub against Ross County in the first game of the season, and he really showed what he could do. He then came on against Aberdeen for Rio Hatate. Hatate went off injured, which is becoming all too familiar this season, unfortunately, for Celtic, with Rio Hatate being injured. But he came on and effectively ran the show for the last 20 minutes, I thought, at Aberdeen. He just looks like a tremendous young player. Then at Ibrox, he showed the bite that you need. He showed the good side of the bite with that tackle on Todd Cantwell right at the end. It essentially won the 3 points for Celtic. Then a couple of games later, he showed the wrong side of the bite because he got a straight red against Feyenoord. It's all about controlling that fire that he's definitely got in his belly, but if he can control that and hone that, then I think it's a very, very bright future for a very, very talented Norwegian and Odin Thiago Holm.
Yeah, I think that one against Feyenoord, I know we discussed that at the time, it was just a bit of inexperience. It was a clear red card. Can't really dive in with the studs up like that, and yeah, it was also frustrating, particularly because that put Celtic down to 9 men after Lagerbielke also receiving the red card. But
I don't think we've seen Lagerbielke since, to be honest with you.
No, not that I can think of anyway, no.
Maybe Motherwell was the last game that we actually seen him, but maybe that's something we can touch on in a wee minute.
Yeah, he's kind of dropped out for probably a variety of reasons, maybe something to do with the centre-backs also starting to fill up again with Welsh, Nawrocki and Carter-Vickers all coming back. But yeah, I'd imagine his performances probably are playing a part in him being quite far down the pecking order. But yeah, Holmes, he seems to be a tidy player, and he's definitely somebody I'd like to see a wee bit more of, and it could be that it's hard to take a positive from Hatate's injury, obviously, because he's such an important player, but maybe him not being involved for, I think Brendan Rodgers said, until at least after Christmas, if not a lot longer than that, that's going to allow players like Holm, like Awata maybe, to get more minutes under the belt.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to bring up this comment by Dennis Jamieson, who's always in the comments. We really do appreciate your support, as always. He's saying Lagerbielke not even making the recent matchday squads. What's going on with him? It's a bit of a weird one, and I would hope that gets sort of rectified today at Brendan Rodgers' press conference, because he's been starting games for Sweden. He's getting called up by Sweden. I don't know if he'll get called up this time because he's not getting game time at Celtic. 1 and 1 equals 2, but he's not making match day squads for Celtic. I think that's the past 3 or 4 that he's not been involved in. It's been Nat Phillips that's been involved in there. Nawrocki's just came back. You know, Scales and Carter Vickers are usually starting games, and then it's Phillips or potentially Nawrocki when he comes back. Then you've got Welsh coming back into proceedings. Kobayashi's so far away with it. I think he'll probably be gone in January, either on loan or a permanent deal away from the club. But his development lies elsewhere. With Lagerbielke is an interesting one because Celtic paid $3 million. He has the Starfelt replacement. I don't think anybody's seen the Scales Renaissance man redemption arc happening. I don't even think Brendan Rodgers was saying it's the biggest surprise, one of the biggest surprises in his managerial career. I think it's a big surprise for the Celtic support and those who cover Celtic, because I don't think anybody's seen this coming to the level of, you know, we expected Liam Scales to maybe come in and put in a good performance and be solid at the back, because, you know, he did it for Aberdeen, who are a decent side in the Scottish Premiership, but we didn't see him do it to this level and keep it up for this amount of time. I was doing the stats bomb report yesterday, and he got 12 clearances and 12 aerial duel wins at a percentage of 92% win rate in the air. An absolutely dominant performance at the top or at the back for Celtic against a team that like to hoof the ball up into the air and win headers. You know, for Scales to come out the victor, both in the scoreline and in terms of the defensive duels, I think that's the level that Lagerbielke needs to get to in order to displace him. And that's going to be very, very difficult because Scales is in the driving seat at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, even if Scales wasn't there, you could argue it would be difficult for Lagerbielke when everyone's fit, because Carter Vickers obviously is the main defender. Nawrocki's somebody Celtic spent a good bit of money on, that clearly was being poised as, if he hadn't got injured, somebody that was going to be challenging for a starting place. Stephen Welsh as well, if he hadn't got a knock. I think Rodgers had mentioned he was clearly going to be like part of his plans after signing a new deal. So even without Scales sort of coming in and having a really good show, it would have been different for Lagerbielke. So when you add that in, it does seem like he's quite far away from it. I think it's far too early to write him off. I mean, it's only been less than 6 months he's been at the club, so and injuries can happen. He is getting picked for his national team as well, ahead of Starfelt, which is an interesting one at the moment. So I think it's just one to keep an eye on, Ryan. I think he was a bit unfortunate to be kind of thrown in the games he was. Obviously, that game at Ibrox he played, Celtic did win, but he had a couple of shaky moments in the Champions League game getting sent off. He probably played sort of more in those sort of 4 or 5 appearances when he first came in.
Probably more than he thought he would.
Yeah, then Celtic probably had him playing in this whole first period of the season. So yeah, I think it's far too early to write him off. But in terms of him not reaching the matchday squad, as that comment you pulled up there is only so many places, and if everybody's fit, he's going to have Carter Vickers and Scales starting right now. Rodgers also going to want Nawrocki on the bench, because that is one of the sort of main attractions in terms of summer signings. And Stephen Welsh as well is also been included the last couple of games. So I think it's maybe one to keep an eye on, but I wouldn't be wanting to write him off quite yet.
No, Brendan Rodgers said, I remember in one of his press conferences a few months ago now, maybe it was 1 or 2 months ago, that he's going to be a very, very good player. It's just all about that development. Maybe it's not a slight on him not making the matchday squad. It's probably because Iwata is quite flexible as well. He can play the centre-half role as well as right back and midfield. So, you know, if Lagerbielke can only play in one place, then that makes him less, you know, expendable. You know, he can't go in certain spots that Iwata can. Iwata can cover 2 or 3. You're going to put in a player that can cover those positions rather than a player that can just put one in. And then if you've got a guy like Nawrocki, who I think will be one of Celtic's starting centre-backs going forward in the future, no slight on Scales, I just think that's the way the pecking order will be going forward. Maybe it could be the 3 of them. Maybe they could go for a 3-5-2. But, I mean, it's a watch this space at the moment. Now, I realise, Aidan, that you need to head away. Thank you very much for coming on this morning, especially last minute when it's a very busy day on the news side of things. So I really do appreciate you coming on, and we'll probably see you tomorrow when I'm doing at least the post-match show from Dingwall. I got the press accreditation about 10 minutes ago emailed to me, so that's me definitely going to Dingwall tomorrow, which should be an interesting trip. Looking forward to that. But thank you very much, Aidan, for joining me this morning. I know it was a really quick show. We really do apologise for that. It's just the way that it's a busy day, you know, press conferences happening all over the place, and we need to get bodies covering for it, basically. So once again, could I please thank the morning briefing sponsors, which is MPH Group, which is Scotland's award-winning family all trade specialists covering all of mainland Scotland. Talk about the winter deal that I mentioned at the start of the video. Every service you opt for enters into the holiday giveaway for the 5-star Moon Palace Resort in Cancun, Mexico, a 7-night stay. You can check all of our links out in the description for plumbing, heating, kitchens and bathrooms. And before we finish off, guys, if I could just get everybody to look at the bottom of the screen before we finish. £4 for 4 months on the Celtic Way website, or £18 for a year. You'll be supporting top quality football journalism covering the club you love. If you're looking for instant post-match analysis, pre-match press conferences rather, can't use the word pressers, people get annoyed about that, pre-match press conferences, opinion pieces, analytical pieces, scouting pieces when the time arises for the transfer window, look no further than Celtic Way. www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. £4 for 4 months or £18 for a year. We cannot continue to do what we do without the support that you give us with regard to subscriptions on the website. Please, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the website. There's a piece on there today that is basically a report card on Lewis Palmer's start to his Celtic career, 9 games in. Looked at some of the good points of these games, some of the bad points and things that he can improve on, as well as the many strengths he's got in his game at left wing. So if you're interested in the analytical side and wanting to check out how he's got on, then please check that out. Aidan, thank you very much for joining me today.
Cheers, Ryan. Always a pleasure.
Thank you very much. And we'll see you all tomorrow to discuss the pre-match at Ross County at Dingwall. Cheers, guys, and have a very good day.